Hello, Bernice Bailey, and welcome to the Art of Celebrating Life. It is such a pleasure to have you join us here, and I'm really looking forward to hearing more about you. But just to start, a little brief introduction. Bernice is a very dear friend, and she's been an Art of Living teacher since 2000. So she has been there since the very early days. Victoria, born and bred. She grew up in a small town called Portland. Bernice is not only a happiness teacher, but she's also a Shushri yoga teacher of the first and second level, an absolutely amazing yoga teacher, and also teaches the art of silence, which is very much down her alley. She has a very peaceful vibe, very care and attentive, and she's certainly been an amazing inspiration over these years. So I'm very happy to pick your brain today, Bernice, and really find out more about what goes on for you and what your life journey was or is, I should say, as it continues, not necessarily past tense.
Wonderful introduction, Monica. I feel so praised and
Well, you
appreciated.
deserve it. You deserve it. So, where should we start? Okay. Well, my first question to you, Bernice, is who are you? I'm going to start with the big questions.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Monica, I don't know the answer to that question. I really don't know who I am, but I know what I like.
What's that? What do you like?
I really love being useful. That is something that came up for me like in my, I don't know, my early 20s. I remember having a conversation with my mom and I was like trying to figure out the direction of my life. I'd gone in some wrong directions and my mom was aware of that. She was saying, your dad and we just want you to be happy. What do you want to do? And I said, I just want to be useful. So I feel like that's a big kind of driving force in my life is wanting to be useful. And I want to be, really not corrupted, just, I really admire my role models are people who be themselves and who are really sincere. And that's what inspires me. And, yeah, I like positivity. That sounds obvious. Doesn't everyone love positivity? No, but I think sometimes there's a joy in drama or there's a joy in creativity or there's a joy in different things. I just feel really touched when I see people being loving and kind and spreading that, on the planet. It just inspires me so much.
I definitely see what you mean. I think everybody says they love positivity, but do they really? Like, I mean, it's really wicked.
I don't know what other people love, but I really love it. I'm also inspired by people who just are true to themselves, like the artists throughout history, the creators, the thinkers, the people themselves is amazing.
I truly feel that you live that way, Bernice.
Aw.
The being and you know, well, I guess it's a conscious choice, isn't it, to be positive and to.
Well, you are also a beacon of positivity.
Thank you, Bernice.
You're
But
always
you,
smiling, laughing,
yeah.
supportive. Yeah.
That's lovely. Thank you. But really, I do feel that, there's few, I think, people in the world that can aspire to something and actually say that they live it and breathe it, really, because as far as I know you, you've always been very useful to anybody and everybody around you.
Can I also say, often I feel like I'm defining myself in relation to like things outside. So, like at the moment, what I see in the world is quite a lot. Like, the politics and the war and the drama that's going on, like on the world stage. I
Yes.
guess I'm kind of seeing that and defining myself in relation to that. Like, yeah, like I don't love that. I'm not into that. That's not I want to go in.
Yeah. And I guess you've hit an interesting point there that we kind of do tend to define ourselves according to what we like, right? Or what we're attracted to. I guess that's natural anyway.
I've been really moved. I've been watching the satsangs for the celebration of the 45 years of Art of Living and the 70th birthday of GuruDev. And I've been, as much as I don't usually watch speeches and things like that, normally in the satsangs, there's been a lot of people speaking and they've been speaking in all different languages. So I can only listen really to the ones in English. And I just feel so moved when I see and hear like the amazing work that's happened over the last 45 years in Art of Living and, 70 years on the planet for GuruDev. It's so
Mm.
that's what moves me. It really moves me. It's really powerful.
It is, isn't it? They really are like extraordinary speeches to like in gratitude to Gurudev and the Art of Living. I think it's easy to, I think, not necessarily take for granted, but kind of not keep in our minds the expanse of what Art of Living has done and the vision for Gurudev. I think I take for granted for sure. But yeah, very beautiful indeed. For those who don't know, what is satsang? Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so technically, I guess satsang means the company of truth.
Mm-hmm.
And but practically what it means is when everyone comes together and sits together and maybe there's some singing and some meditation and maybe there's some speakers talking and it's uplifting, kind of becoming oneness of consciousness, like all putting our minds all together and harmoniously being present.
Art of Living has been 45 years, the anniversary for Art of Living. How long? You've been in Art of Living for now, for how long?
20,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow. It's a very hard thing to summarize, but tell me a little bit about your, it doesn't have to be childhood, but how you were growing up, like teens or whatever, at your previous adult life that brought you to Art of Living.
The the catalyst for me to join Art of Living was Marilyn Moon, who you know and love. And yeah, she was a big figure in my life because she lived quite close by and we spent a lot of time together. And I met her because I was interested in yoga. And I became interested in yoga because I was not very well. Like, I was kind of, I mean, I would have appeared to be well, I imagine. Like, I was in my early 20s and pretty fit and strong. But I was not really connected with myself mentally, emotionally, physically. And I had tried to do meditation to kind of get harmonious and kind of get on track. And meditation was very difficult, just sitting for an hour. Like I could go to courses and do courses, but I couldn't really practice on my own. And I had found a great yoga teacher whose name was Takao, and he practiced Okido. And then I was really into that. But unfortunately, Takao was from Japan and he passed away. Yeah, he had stomach cancer,
Oh my
which I
God.
think is not uncommon for people who grew up in Japan after Hiroshima, like after the bomb.
Wow. Okay.
So he was my first yoga teacher. He passed away. And then I knew that I was interested in yoga. I got really good results from yoga, felt so good. And I wanted to know more, but I knew it was a really big field. And so I needed help to find out. So I got in touch with Marilyn. She introduced me to a bunch of different schools and teachers. And one thing that she introduced me to that really stuck was Art of Living.
Wow. What was it about yoga that felt so good for you?
And what happened was after I did yoga, I felt just fantastic. I would ride my bike home. I was in my early 20s, mid 20s. I would be riding my bike around singing and just feeling like, the wind in my hair, just feeling like really alive. And that was something that I had lost touch with, like that natural high, just the natural feeling of being alive and being grateful and feeling good. Felt that really keenly after yoga. And the more I learn about yoga and the more I practice yoga, it seems to not fail. Like
Mm.
it really just makes me centered, makes me appreciate life, makes me feel good.
I'm sure your pronunciation is pretty good of that line in yoga that says
Aya Duk Anagatam? That one? No.
possibly, or it's the Kaush something? Kaushalam? No?
Karma Sukashalam. Karma Sukashalam.
Yes. Is that the one? What's the translation of that one again?
It's skill in action, is that one?
I, what was the first one?
Hayam Dukam Anagatam is yoga is
Yes.
there to remove the pain.
Actually, that was the one I was after. Yes, beautiful. So yes, I mean that you just kind of described that exactly, right? That yes, yoga puts you in that state.
In
I don't think it's
insofar as the pain is from disconnection from and from disconnection from reality or truth, yeah,
yeah.
that's reconnecting to truth and wholeness, life.
And what does truth mean to you?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, there's layers of truth. Yeah, like, there's the truth of the body, which is how it feels right now, and the truth of the moment, like just whether what season it is, maybe where you are. And then there's the truth of the mind, how it vacillates, and the truth of the intellect, which likes, to distinguish right from wrong, good from bad. And then there's the truth of the being, which is what is.
Wow, I feel like you've answered everything. I have nothing else to ask because it's like you've brought me to silence. Like it's so touching. I love that. Wow. But I will endeavor to ask more questions.
Okay, I'll endeavor to make you silent. Let's have a competition.
So, yes, all right. So, with that, on that sort of same brushstroke, how would you say spirituality has been a focus in your life? And what does it mean to you?
Mm. I remember I was brought up Catholic, and I remember as a child being pretty devotional.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, like one of my early memories, like I must have been, I don't know, under 6, I'd say. And I can remember singing and dancing in the garden and just being like, yay, God, like from just whatever I'd learned, I remember I used to like pray. Like I used to lie in bed before I go to sleep and say, bless mom, bless dad, bless Catherine, bless Michael, and bless all the pets and bless all the relatives, and then like bless all the people. And if things went wrong, when things went wrong in my life, like I remember once I was meant to feed the next door neighbor's cat, and I took our dog followed me to the next door neighbor's house to feed the cat, and then the cat ran away, and then I felt really anxious about the cat, and I came back and I remember praying to God, let the cat be okay, please. Like, so yeah, there was definitely something in me that was like ready, ready to celebrate life and ready for connection. And like
Mm.
also like pre-6 or so, I had an imaginary friend whose name was Friendly, who was a ghost. Like, so I don't know what was going on there, but I really used to. I had a little ritual where I would call this imaginary friend into my presence, which is like I'd go somewhere quiet and like I'd stand behind a door or something and I'd spin around 3 times and I'd like invoke Friendly the ghost. And
That's amazing.
so this was happening, and then, I mean, but just like normal life also, right? Like just living in a family. But then last year or the year before, at some point recently, I did the Upanayam course, and which is where we chant the Gayatri mantra 108 times, and there's a little ceremony that goes with that. And like part of that ceremony is invoking this big consciousness. And I find myself standing like this and going in a circle to all the directions. And I was remembering, oh, I used to do this when I was little. Like it feels so
Wow.
it feels so full circle. And I don't understand that process at all. Like really brings me back to when I was a little kid, like
Amazing.
invoking this friendly kind of
Mm.
magnanimous presence.
Being. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Wow. So all of that all together is what spirituality means to you, would you say?
It's about connection. It's about being yourself, being
Yeah.
true. And then so what happened was I lost touch with that when I became like a young adult. I hardened up and became quite intellectual and
Mm.
discriminating. And I felt a real difference when that happened. And
Mhm.
the spiritual path for me was getting back to that.
Mhm.
Not disregarding the intellect and not having the like strength of being able to cope with all the diverse things that happen in life, keeping all that, but also getting back to some fundamental truth of love, magnanimity, connectedness.
Wow. And would you say that, like, when you did the Art of Living course for the first time, I mean, I don't know if you'd like to share what that experience was, but did you feel that that's when things shifted for you in terms of this return to the self?
Yeah, so I was not very conscious of it at the time. What my main experience when I did the happiness program was of like cleansing. I felt a lot of heaviness, a lot of tension. Yeah, real accumulated waste. And this I was only in my, like, I was like 27 years old or something. How could I have accumulated so much heaviness and like, but it felt very intense cleansing when I did. And I felt that for quite a while that it was an intense cleansing process. And then, yes, it just after that felt like something that I had to do in order to feel as natural and relaxed as I possibly could.
And in the years of this journey, this path, are there certain milestones that you recall or certain memories or experiences that you can bring to the surface
Like,
at this time?
what do you mean by milestone?
It could be something that you feel you had success in, whether it was personally or related within the art of living. Like milestones slash keen memories or experiences. Anything that you recall in these last years of your journey.
Okay. So a big milestone for me
Yes.
was daily practice, was becoming someone who, no matter what, every day does some practice. That was a big shift because that was quite difficult for me to begin with. Like, and it was confusing to me how difficult it was because every single time I would do my practice, at the end, I would feel better. Like,
Hmm.
something, not even that something was bad or wrong before, but afterwards I'll be like, that's better, you know? And
Yes.
yet still, I really struggled. Like, really struggled to do it every day. So daily practice of Kriya would have been the first thing, and then daily practice of meditation twice a day.
Mhm.
So really, on a practical level,
Mm, mm.
every time I incorporate a little bit more daily practice, I feel like that's a milestone.
Mm.
And I feel like there's growth from that and buoyancy, and I feel armored, like I feel pretty. And apart from that, I don't really measure my like life, like, in,
Yeah, sure.
but this stuff, what I notice in hindsight is through the hardest moments of life, this has been my good friend. The practice, the knowledge, the service, the community. Yeah, like the milestones are making it through the hard patches. That's what I feel.
Feel like you've redefined what it means to have a milestone. It's not something big and flashy, It's those really
My
sincere.
bar's really low.
That's not what I meant. What I mean is it really is every day. Every day should be a milestone. No, it doesn't have to be, every 10 years, every whatever. You know what I mean? No,
Well,
it's
can I tell you, I came from a place like before my first happiness program, and for a little while after, while I was like recovering from whatever was going on with me. There were times when I couldn't get out of bed. Like there were times when I just couldn't do anything. My energy was so low, and I would have like extreme highs and lows. And that doesn't exist for me anymore. Like just natural highs and lows now. Of course, I'd love to have a rest if I'm tired, but I remember what it was like to have no energy, and daily practice is what really changed that. And I don't forget it. Like I never forget it. At the end of a long day, when I'm a little bit tired and ready for bed, I'm like, this is good. Like this is healthy, you know? And I remember when I just had no energy.
that's the key, isn't it? Not forgetting the past in a sense where it's beneficial, you know?
I also remember times
Hmm.
when my mind was just absolutely out of control, and what my life was like when my mind was completely out of control. And I'm like, daily practice is my immunization. Like,
Wow. I'm surprised that you remember for the way that you actually live your life now. I mean, I'm even surprised that it enters your mind at all. But I think that's really helpful, isn't it? To compare in a sense.
I remembered a kind of a milestone. It happened, I don't know, the mid 2000s, certainly around before 2015, maybe. It happened over a few years. I was in India and I was attending Navaratri, which I know you love. It's amazing, amazing cultural celebration. And, but it was It would have been well before 2010 actually this. And the chanting is so intense and the energy is so vibrant and so tangible. Like, and it was very intense and I wasn't very balanced in my body. Like there was a lot of heat in my system and a lot of like thinking and my mind was racing. And I remember just watching my mind be all out of whack. And I had a conversation with Swami Brahmatij and the conversation went like this. Oh, Swami Brahmatij, how are you? Yeah, good, thank you. And I was like, it's nice to see you. And Swami Brahmatij, how come you keep your hair short when all the other Swamis in the ashram have long hair? And he said, you know, I can't trust my mind. I was like, that is not the answer to the question I asked. But that is very interesting that this really vibrant and like really enlightened light being that's like living a life of service, he goes, I don't trust my mind. And I took that away and I was like, you don't trust your mind? You're a Swami. And I looked at how much my life depended on my mind, like how I would go by my thoughts and feelings. And I
Wow.
thought about it for a long time. And I saw Swami Brahmatij like a year or two later and we were catching up. He's like, I'll come over for a cup of tea. And I went to his room and he's so sweet. He gave me a coconut. And I said, Swami Brahmatij, a couple of years ago, you said to me, I can't trust my mind. And I've been wondering, if I can't trust my mind, what can I trust? And he said, he just kind of giggled and, looked thoughtful for a moment. And he said, you can trust life. And that answer did something to me. It changed the way that I perceived something. Like, what was I
Mm,
putting my trust in? What was I relying on? And
mm.
that was a big shift for me, that conversation that seemed to have no it didn't I don't know where it came from. It went for 2 years, but in the end, it was really good to hear.
Gosh, just a few words. That's actually mind-blowing. It's
Yeah, he
blowing my
said
mind right now.
2 sentences to me. They just were the right sentences at the right time, and I needed, like, 2 years to digest it.
That is so precious. Wow, so beautiful. Hmm.
But
You
that created a shift for sure.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Any trip to the ashram in India creates shifts, right? Absolutely. But particularly speaking with swamis as well. Absolutely. So, Bernice, I know that you have a lot of reverence for the knowledge. There's a lot of the knowledge books, the wisdom, the commentaries that GuruDev has given us of various texts, Patanjali Yoga, sutras, Ashtavakra Gita. Would you like to share anything specific about your journey into the knowledge?
Mm. Well, I think what I admire and what I trust really is GuruDev.
Mm.
And I did always love the knowledge, like Patanjali Yoga Sutras and things like that. I came across them and I had teachers who were teaching me yogic knowledge before, and I was always like, wow, it's amazing. It's like the way the world can be classified into 5 elements. And, there's this whole history of creation that they have, how consciousness has arisen and manifested into reality. It's fascinating. It's amazing.
Mm.
But I don't think it really became so passionate for me or so important for me until I connected with GuruDev and I felt like I had a source that I could trust.
Mm.
And when he says stuff, I feel like I'm very receptive to that. And I think that's because of what experiences I've had with him that have engendered so much trust and admiration. Like it's that state of feeling absolutely like, wow, this being is incredible. And so the words that are coming from that person then have such a different weight, you know?
Mhm,
So
mhm.
it's like it goes in and it really settles down. So
Mm.
it's not just it's the scriptures, but it's the scriptures given through that relationship.
Yeah, beautiful. And in terms of the courses that you teach, what kind of experience do you see your participants go through? What kinds of experiences do your participants? You're the only Sri Sri Yoga level 2 teacher in Australia, and that's a very intense program. I do recall you saying that, yes, people really had I mean, every Art of Living course gives a positive experience, but that people really will transform.
I think the amount of time and energy that we invest on a course is a little bit proportional to what you can get out of it, right? Like, so when we do the happiness program, I mean, getting the technique of Siddhartha Kriya in just a 9-hour program is incredible. And people have amazing experiences on that course, but the transformation really happens through the daily practice. I think, like,
Mhm.
is when it's brought into, like, it's the amount of time that goes on that
Mm.
allows the transformation to get established and for things to really roll. It's a technique, but the time that we invest in it. So where I'm going with this is the Shusha Yoga course is a course where people invest 4.5 days of their life full time because of that time investment. And then we, we do some really powerful cleansing techniques in a group. I think also the group atmosphere is really powerful.
Yeah.
So that just magnifies the effect. And it's really ancient, natural knowledge and techniques. So it's very harmonious and suitable for the mind and body. So it's very easy. It's like being a fish in water when you do things that are natural and time tested and you do it
Mhm.
together. So, yeah, people give the time and the commitment. The techniques are time tested and powerful. The group atmosphere is potent, and then the results follow from that. And then again, afterwards, it's like you got to do some practice to really sustain it.
Yeah, right, right.
But yeah, people have massive leaps in awareness, in letting go of toxins and tension, of really creating change in their lifestyle and change in their
Mhm.
minds and hearts. So one more thing about the Shishi Yoga deep dive is what I see is people really let go of stresses and strains in that period of time and just get into that experience of celebrating life, which is what this is. It really happens that the celebration just comes to the fore, like feeling good about being alive and just feeling so happy. And that's a profound experience.